All right, today we'll be ranking learning, starting with reading. I think reading is a solid fuck. I haven't even made the layers properly. All right, yeah. Starting with reading, I think reading is a solid like B for me. It's I would say like you're also fooling you're fooling your brain that you're actually learning because sometimes your mind might be somewhere else, but your eye is like just going over words. So a solid B for me. I would not say reading is completely learning, but yeah, you do get exposure to a couple of things, and there are these certain moments of consciousness where you will like be like, oh fuck, this is pretty cool. Second, I think this was testing yourself, which is like actively forcing yourself to like recall something. Active recall is what they call it. This had a solid 8 year because this is. Next up, we have critical thinking or forcing yourself to remember something. And I think that's a solid 8 year for me. When you're actually trying to remember something, it forces your brain to, actually create like neural pathways, which is crazy. That's how like proper learning also happens. This is like forcing yourself to remember, trying to remember something. It's like you're kind of like testing yourself whether you remember something or not. And I would say there's a solid 8 year. You realize that when you actually force yourself to remember something, you actually remember it for a very very long time or for life. So maybe try practicing that. It has worked for me. I think it'll work for everyone else. Doing, of course, I would say like doing is proper S tier. When you try and you do and you fail, that's the best way to learn. It's like fucking around and finding out. When you do, you get raw experience. You get that first-hand experience of doing something. You learn a lot by being in the environment. Life is lived in the arena, right? You get exposure to the thing that you're doing. You are exposed to failure. You may fail, and all of that stuff is like this is like the entire encapsulation of learning, because you're gonna fail. You're gonna experience the thing. You're gonna come across problems, and then you may try to figure out the solution to the problem at hand at that very moment. And I think doing is like proper S tier stuff. Teaching, whether it's one-on-one group or you're teaching an entire class, I think teaching is also proper S tier. When one teaches, two people learn. I use this hack for myself personally. Whenever I'm trying to learn something, I'll try to teach it to someone else. And if you're trying to learn something, try learning and try teaching it to someone else. You're actually forced to use the right words, structure information out, and also research the topic that you're trying to teach someone in detail, right? Because you don't want to sound unprepared or like an idiot. So I think teaching is proper S tier because it forces you to learn. All right, so we have listening to podcasts, audiobooks, or I would call this like binge listening. I would say this is B tier. You can gain a lot of knowledge from it, but I wouldn't consider that learning, right? Some podcasts are like great, where you can get exposure to that information, and it also depends what you're actually doing. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? But where your attention really is matters, right? So I think there are certain points in time when we are listening or we're doing two things at once, wherein your brain can like actively switch its consciousness from one to another, or its attention or focus. So yeah, I think listening to podcasts is a good hack because you can do something else while listening to a podcast. I mean, if you're actually like actively sitting and listening to a podcast, then obviously the attention is much higher, and obviously learning could take place. You can get exposed to information via listening to something. Failing, I think failing is S tier. I think you learn the most when you fail, and we should like celebrate failing. It's one of the best ways to learn something. When you try something and you fail, I think you should take it in. You should always look at it as, from a positive perspective, because at least you failed. That means at least you tried, right? And you can always reattempt things in life, right? There's so many times and ways to do things again and again, and there's different ways to do something, and there are almost infinite ways to get to something, get to the point where you want to be. And I think failing just eliminates one route or one formula that you tried that didn't work. So you can always reattempt it with a different variable in your formula or different, method of doing something, and you might find like, oh, this works better for me, or this, if I do this way, it works better for me. Reading is cool, but again, if you're reading with intent, and if you're like actively reading and reading with intent and like focused reading, I think you can learn. You will learn for sure. But there are times wherein we just read with our eyes and not with our brain or with our mind, and we can. It could just be an exercise for us to just take our eyes from one word to another, and just scan stuff. I'm pretty sure there are ways to read as well. And maybe that's something that I need to learn as well, because I have a bunch of books that have been unread. There are no bad ways of learning something. I think there's no C or D tier or F tier of learning. I completely forgot there are two more things. Writing down notes, journaling, writing stuff down. It's a great way to articulate your thoughts and put stuff out there. I would say A tier in terms of learning. You could, I think when you articulate, you can learn. And it definitely forms so articulation could be like writing, journaling. It also could be like making art. Like literally, it could be like singing, dancing, anything that expresses or articulates, what you feel. Definitely learning, because when you're writing stuff down, at least, again, your brain is using more power to use the right words. You have to fit words on a paper, and it forces your brain to do something. And I definitely feel when you write stuff down, you learn. So take out a piece of paper, you write down what you have on your mind. Good way to learn. And then the other method of learning that I feel could be ranked is revising. Going back through your notes and rereading them, revising them. I would say it is. I would put it in the middle of B and C tier, because I feel revising your notes is not necessarily learning. It will definitely remind you of if you focus on doing, but if you don't have the chance to do it because maybe it's a theory or it's something that you don't have access to kind of do an experiment, then teaching is definitely top tier again as well, right? But also testing yourself, which is right here, right? Let me make this big. Definitely testing yourself and trying to remember something that you just learned is also a good hack. If you need to learn something quick, you need to learn something fast, testing yourself. So yeah, teaching, testing yourself, great ways to learn. Revising notes, cool, but not up there. And then taking down notes, definitely. I feel taking down notes is a great way to form neural connections in your brain. But yeah, there's these two more things. And yeah, okay, cool, bye. But if you guys have any other ways or methods of learning, please put it down in the comments below. I would love to know how you learn something. All right, cheers, bye.